An elderly man arrives at a psychiatric ward to drop off a woman named Alice. The story circulating is dark. Alice has allegedly tried to poison her husband multiple times. Her husband barely survived, and once he realized his wife was trying to kill him, he contacted a psychiatrist named Dr. Donadio. Donadio claims Alice is suffering from severe mental illness, specifically paranoia. This is a condition where a person feels an intense, irrational distrust of others, constantly believing that everyone around them is plotting or conspiring against them. Because of this diagnosis, Alice is committed to this asylum. Dr. Donadio sends a formal letter to the head of the hospital, Dr. Samuel, but Samuel is currently away on vacation. Instead, a young doctor named Dr. Rue Perez opens the letter. The warning inside is chilling. Alice is incredibly clever. She can lie so convincingly that her stories feel like the absolute truth. She must only be handled by the most experienced doctors, or things could take a dangerous turn. Dr. Rue Perez sits down with Alice and probes her with questions, specifically about her husband. Alice remains perfectly calm. She looks him in the eye and says, "I never poisoned my husband. He's the one trying to frame me as insane. He wants me locked away so he can seize my entire inheritance." Her demeanor is unsettlingly normal. She doesn't act like a patient at all. Soon she meets another doctor, Dr. Cassell, who explains the strict rules of the facility. This hospital is strange and the rules are harsh. Patients aren't even allowed to keep books. However, Alice is persistent. She begs and pleads until Dr. Cassell finally lets her keep one single book. As soon as she is alone, Alice flips through the pages of her book and pulls out a set of hidden documents. Here is the first big twist. Alice isn't a patient. She is a private investigator. She is here on a secret mission. A while ago, a patient named Damien died in this very hospital. Dr. Samuel claimed it was a suicide, but Damien's father, Dr. Del Olmo, doesn't believe it for a second. He is convinced his son was murdered and that the hospital is hiding something. Del Olmo hired Alice to go undercover and find the truth. While investigating, Alice meets a strange patient named Ignacio. He's the only one in the ward allowed to carry a lighter. As they talk, a dwarf named Gnome crawls out from under their table. Gnome is a predator. He immediately begins harassing Alice with lewd gestures. He is small, but his intentions are vile. Gnome has a massive friend known as the Elephant Man, a giant of a human. Thankfully, Ignacio steps in and saves Alice from Gnome's harassment. As they become friends, Ignacio begins to spill the hospital's secrets. He tells her about the twins Romulo and Remo. They are adults now but never leave each other's side. Remo is a mute who mimics the behavior of other patients. Romulo, on the other hand, acts as a protector for another female patient whom he considers his sister. This sister is often targeted by the Elephant Man's predatory gaze, leading to frequent, violent clashes between Romulo and the giant. Later, Alice is taken to see Dr. Cesar. Like the others, Cesar is struck by how sane she seems. During their meeting, he accidentally spills tea on her. Alice sees an opportunity. She asks for the key to the doctor's private bathroom to clean up. Trusting her, Dr. Cesar hands it over. Alice doesn't just wash her clothes. She purposefully floods the bathroom, creating a massive distraction. While the staff rushes to fix the leak, Alice sneaks into the records room and finds Damien's file. After reading the details, she begins to suspect Ignacio. She knows Damien's killer likely suffers from schizophrenia, and she wants to see if Ignacio fits the profile. Suddenly, it starts to rain. Ignacio begins to shake violently and collapses. He has a phobia of water so intense that he can't even stand the sight of it. Because of this, the hospital actually allows him to drink alcohol instead of water. Alice realizes Ignacio couldn't have killed Damien. He's too terrified of the very elements involved in the crime. She decides to trust him. She reveals her true identity and tells him she is a detective here to find Damien's killer. Ignacio is stunned. He tells her that Damien and the dwarf Gnome used to fight constantly. Following this lead, Alice follows Gnome into the woods surrounding the hospital. There, she runs into Romulus. He leads her deeper into the forest to a secret house he built out of branches. He only brings people he loves here. Romulus looks at Alice and starts to cry, calling her mother. Alice knows he is mentally ill, so she holds him gently to calm him down. Suddenly, a noise erupts from the bushes. Alice tells Romulus to stay put and goes to investigate. Out of nowhere, Gnome pounces on her. He pins her down and begins to assault her. Alice struggles but starts to lose consciousness. Just as the worst is about to happen, someone emerges from the shadows and brutally beats Gnome to death with a heavy branch. Alice wakes up in a hospital bed with no memory of who killed Gnome. She finally meets the head doctor, Dr. Samuel. At first, Alice is relieved. She believes that since Damien's father Del Olmo sent her here, he must have briefed his good friend Dr. Samuel about the undercover mission. She expects Samuel to acknowledge her as a detective. But then the floor drops out from under her. Dr. Samuel looks at her with cold confusion. He says he has no idea who Del Olmo is and certainly never agreed to any secret investigation. Alice panics. She insists that Del Olmo wrote letters and planned this entire thing. But to the doctors, she just sounds like a delusional patient suffering from a breakdown. As she is dragged away on Samuel's orders, she screams the truth to anyone who will listen. She remembers reading about Damien's death in the newspapers and meeting Del Olmo at a party with her husband. But the most terrifying realization of all, her husband already knew Del Olmo before that party. So here's how the rest of the twisted game unfolds. At that high society party, the man Alice believed was Del Olmo approached her. He told her he needed a private investigator to find out what really happened to his son Damien. He was convinced it wasn't suicide. Why? Because 2 days after the death, he received a mysterious letter saying, "You are responsible for your son's death." The sender was unknown, but the letter came from this very asylum. It was written by someone suffering from schizophrenia, a condition where the line between reality and imagination completely disappears. To get Alice inside, Del Olmo created a fake medical report claiming she suffers from paranoia. Alice was so committed to the job that she didn't even tell her husband. She even wrote that initial letter to Dr. Samuel herself, posing as a doctor to ensure her own admission. Back in the present, Alice explains all of this to the doctors, but Samuel isn't buying it. He looks at her and says, "I don't know you, you are lying, you are deeply, deeply sick." The other doctors are starting to feel uneasy. They look at Samuel with suspicion. Is he mistreating Alice? They suggest contacting her husband or Dr. Donadio to verify the truth. Samuel scoffs. He tells them the real story. Alice found out her husband was after her money, so she tried to poison him. Her husband caught her hiding the toxin and instead of calling the police, called Dr. Donadio to get her help. Samuel insists that Alice is so far gone that she hallucinated the entire Damien investigation just to cope with her own guilt. He says Damien's death was a simple suicide and there is no murder to solve. Suddenly, Ignacio bursts in. He backs Alice up, saying he saw Gnome attack her. He tried to save her, and as Gnome ran away, the dwarf tripped and hit his head on a branch, which is how he died. This clears Alice of the murder charge, but Samuel still refuses to let her go. Alice is desperate. She points to a man standing in the room who has been listening quietly. "Bring Dr. Del Olmo here. He's the only one who can prove who I am." Then comes the crushing blow. The man standing right next to her speaks up. He is the real Dr. Del Olmo. Alice freezes. She looks at him and her heart sinks. She doesn't recognize him at all. The doctors exchange worried glances. If she knows Del Olmo so well, why doesn't she know what he looks like? Alice loses it. The wall of reality crumbles around her. She begins screaming, acting exactly like the patients she was investigating. The staff pins her down and drags her away for electroshock therapy. As the current surges through her, she drifts into a vivid dream. In the dream, she sees the truth. The man she thought was Del Olmo was actually an actor working for her husband. Her husband orchestrated the entire thing. He put a fake photo of Del Olmo in the newspaper and hired the actor to trick Alice into entering the asylum so he could steal her fortune. When Alice wakes up, she tells Dr. Cesar everything. Cesar is convinced. He tells Dr. Cassel that they have to save her, that she's trapped in a nightmare. They suspect Samuel has been bribed by Alice's husband to keep her locked up. Alice tells them, "Check my bank accounts. My husband has probably drained them and fled. If I'm wrong, then fine, I'm crazy, but check the money." Cesar goes to the police, but they hit a wall. To check a mental patient's records, they need the head of the hospital's permission, and they can't ask Samuel without tipping him off. Meanwhile, Dr. Cassel finds a secret report showing that Alice's husband paid a massive amount of money to the hospital. Samuel catches her and claims the money was a donation for hospital equipment, not a bribe. He's furious and fires Dr. Cassel on the spot for snooping. Knowing she's running out of time, Alice decides to break out. With Ignacio's help, she sets her room on fire as a distraction. At the same time, Ignacio pours water on himself, triggering his phobia-induced seizure. When the guards rush in to help him, he manages to unlock the doors for all the other patients. Chaos erupts. Patients are running everywhere, and the smell of smoke fills the air. In the middle of the madness, Ignacio finds Romulus lying in a pool of blood. He's dead. Alice uses the confusion to steal a staff uniform. She heads for the gate just as forensic experts arrive to investigate the death of Romulus. They think she's a guard and let her open the gate for them. Alice is seconds away from freedom, but she can't leave. She needs to know who killed Romulus. She knocks out a forensic specialist, steals their clothes, and sneaks back inside disguised as an investigator. She examines Romulus's body. Samuel and the other doctors eventually catch on to her disguise, but they are forced to listen when she presents her findings. Alice explains that when Gnome was attacking her, Romulus was the one who stepped in and killed Gnome to save her. But the Elephant Man saw it happen. He already hated Romulus for protecting his sister, so he used the chaos of the fire to corner Romulus and murder him in revenge. Samuel tries one last time to call her crazy, but the police find fresh blood on the Elephant Man's hands. Alice was right. The giant is dragged away in handcuffs. Finally, the truth comes out. The police confirm that Alice's husband has disappeared with all her money. They look at Alice no longer as a patient, but as a victim. They promise her, "Don't worry, we're going to get you out of here." Dr. Cassel returns with news that brings a glimmer of hope. The medical board has scheduled a meeting to decide whether Alice should be released from the hospital. Following this, the staff returns Alice's personal belongings to her. Before she leaves, she goes to find Romulus's twin brother, Remo, but she discovers a heartbreaking truth. It wasn't Romulus who died in the fire, it was Remo. During the chaos of the fire, Romulus had brought Remo to his room to keep him calm and safe. Romulus stepped away for just a moment, leaving Remo alone. In that window of time, the Elephant Man entered the room. He mistook Rameau for Romulus and brutally murdered him. Romulus stands there, shattered and weeping, blaming himself for his brother's death. The high-stakes medical board meeting begins. The room is tense. Dr. Samuel, Dr. Rui Perez, Dr. Cassel, and Dr. Cesar are all present. They begin questioning Alice. One by one, the doctors express their support for her. Except for Samuel, every single psychiatrist agrees that Alice is sane and should be set free. Dr. Samuel is defeated. He feels betrayed and insulted that his own staff doesn't trust his professional judgment. He cannot accept that they are letting a woman he believes is dangerous walk free. Right then and there, Samuel resigns from his position. As he walks toward the exit, he stops and drops one final piece of information. Dr. Donadio has just returned from his trip abroad and is here at the hospital. Alice looks up, expecting to see a stranger. But when Dr. Donadio walks into the room, she freezes. Her eyes widen in pure shock. Dr. Donadio is the exact same man Alice thought was Del Olmo, the man she believed was the father of the murdered boy. Donadio walks up to her. His voice is calm, almost pitying. He looks at her and asks, "Alice, have you caused more trouble again?" The world shatters. The truth is far darker than a conspiracy. Dr. Donadio wasn't a stranger. He was Alice's actual psychiatrist before he went abroad. He knows her entire history. He knows that Alice truly suffers from paranoia. She is so skilled at lying that she doesn't just fool other people, she fools herself. Alice isn't a detective. She never was. She created an entire imaginary world to escape her reality. She turned her doctor into Del Olmo. She erased her husband's face from her memory. Damien, the murder, the investigation, none of it was real. It was all a complex story her mind invented because she can no longer tell the difference between fantasy and reality. In her head, her lies became the only truth she knew. But wait, there is one final, chilling detail in this closing scene. Look closely at Alice. As she stands there, the doctors who were just supporting her are standing right behind her. But the moment Dr. Donadio asks her if she's made a mess of things again, the camera shifts. Suddenly, the doctors behind Alice are gone. They have vanished into thin air. This is the ultimate twist. Those doctors, Cesar, Cassel, and the others who fought for her freedom were never really there. They were just more characters created by Alice's broken mind to help her win her case. Alice is, and always was, a patient. Her illness grew worse while Donadio was away, and she built a masterpiece of a lie just to feel like a hero in her own story. As the screen fades, we realize Alice isn't going home. She is exactly where she belongs.